Nah. Recording is in progress. Is it? Do you hear that recording in progress too?
I hear it. I don't think it picks it up though.
No, I know that doesn't. I was just making sure you could hear it. I think that's
Yeah,
fair. I think the other person should be able to hear it as well. Recording in progress.
Yeah. Well, we're recording now. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Buddies on Buddies, the show with two real life buddies talking about real life buddy action comedy movies. I'm Kenny Lane.
I'm Lucas Hill.
And we're buddies on buddies. You always refuse to do that. Fuck you.
Well, that's pretty fucking cheesy, don't you think?
Yeah. This whole thing's fucking cheesy. Who cares?
Well, it's not cheesy. What do you mean? It's informative.
It's gritty. It's real. It's raw. Yeah.
Hey, we undervalue ourselves in our knowledge of really bad movies. Like we know.
Oh, really? Did someone tell you that, or you're just saying that?
I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
It's called self-confidence.
I've been hearing on the street that we're pretty awesome. I just want to throw that out there.
Hey, word on the street is we're making progress.
Who told you that? Myself. Yeah.
Bill Simmons. Let's give a brief history of who we are. Who are you?
I don't know why you bother. I don't know why you bother with this one every week too.
No, I think it's important. I think it's important. Hey, can we have these arguments off camera? You know, why do you wait until we're live? Like, oh yeah, by the way, I hate this segment.
Yeah. Are you ready? I'm ready. Roll it. What
the
fuck is your problem, man?
And we're live. This show sucks.
Lucas and I, we met in film school. We lived together in Los Angeles for a good, many years. And I moved up to Washington State a couple of years ago. Lucas still lives in LA, still works in the industry. I work at a golf course now, and that's pretty much who we are.
And Kenny knows a lot more about movies than I do, but I have much better taste.
Much better taste.
Yeah, that's gonna catch on. That's gonna be my thing. You're gonna see shirts.
Catchphrase.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be shirts.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, they got t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be dressed like me.
People are gonna yell that to me on the street. Much better taste. Yeah, it's a good one. Hang on to that one.
Yeah. But no, I will.
Okay.
Before we talk about what we watched this week, let's talk about the movie we are covering this week.
We are covering the 1982 Paramount Pictures release 48 Hours, starring Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy, directed by Walter Hill.
Great. We have a lot to talk about. This is a pretty big movie. Before we do that, is there anything other than 48 Hours you watched this week that you want to talk about?
Yes, I've been trying to go through some of the Oscar nominated Best Picture movies. I saw King Richard.
Oh yeah, how was that? How was that?
I didn't like it at all.
Now I haven't seen it, and I don't want to give anything away. I don't want you to give anything away.
Sure.
But, like, it really bothered me.
Yeah, I won't tell you the ending because you obviously don't know. Yeah, no one knows the ending. What happened to Serena and Venus Williams? Oh no, don't say anything.
Murder suicide. We get it. It's weird that they have this two most prominent female sports figures up there in the history, and they make a movie about their dad and call it King Richard.
Yeah, I thought that was a little strange. It's that's part of the problem I have with it. Like, I think that the reason Venus and Serena Williams are so successful, I think partly maybe had to do with their dad pushing them into it, but also I think they are just inherently very talented at tennis, and they took to it really well. So I don't really think like writing out a 78-page, plan for your unborn kids, to be tennis stars. I don't think that's a really good idea in general. I mean, it really worked out for them, but I think it's just because of who Venus and Serena are, and not so much what their kind of nutty dad had in mind. I think working in Hollywood and like seeing stage moms and stuff and stage dads around like the studios, I don't like seeing parents really push their kids into show business or sports or something like that. So I didn't really find it as heartwarming as I think a lot of other people do. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, we all know it going into it that it worked out great, but I wasn't really feeling it.
Nobody has benefited more from the patriarchy than I have, and I have enjoyed every second of it.
Okay,
but
is this where you virtual signal for like 2 minutes in every show?
You just talked for like a half hour. Is this what it's going to be?
I'm just shitting on King Richard. I'm not like, look, the patriarchy and my white privilege.
I know, but what I'm saying is, well, now I'm all fucking sidetracked because you have to interrupt me.
Yeah.
No, the like I've benefited greatly from the patriarchy. I have a great career. I have a lot of money. I have 3 houses. But
you really cashed your white privilege.
Could you imagine like a Tiger Woods movie? It was just about his dad, you know?
That's what I was thinking about too. Yeah, I was like, it'd be much more interesting just focusing on Tiger Woods versus Venus and Serena. Well, and also it's no real shock that they completely ignored certain not so great aspects of King Richard's life. Like,
Right.
One of his daughters claims that he's probably fathered around 15 kids total. And he had a whole family before the woman he got with for Venus and Serena that I don't know does much. And then of course they left out the part at the end where like his wife and Venus and Serena's mom, as soon as the real money started coming in, he just left her for a woman who was the same age as Venus. So there's certain things about King Richard that I wasn't really sure we should take out the Dad of the Year trophy for and polish it for him. I don't know. So, but it was, they call them hagiographies. I can't say it. Like hagiography. It's basically a biography that just kind of worships its subject, and that's what I kind of felt about this one.
Hagiography.
Hey,
yeah, I came hot tonight. Came hot.
Woo! Punny.
He's not funny, but he is pun hilarious.
He is funny. Well, what did you watch this week, Luke?
Well, I want to mention a show, and you're gonna hate it because it's animated, but Arcane on Netflix is a really interesting show. It was suggested to me by 2 different people. It's like 8 episodes.
What's it about?
Long.
It's a cartoon about what?
That's the thing. You call it a cartoon. I knew you would. Like, not interested. It's a cartoon.
It's cartoon, yeah. I know. No, it's an animated series. Animated series for adults.
I want to take you to one of these places with all the animators who work like hours a week, and you walk through.
Hey!
Oh, look at these cartoon makers.
Yeah. Hey, what's happening this week with Screwy Squirrel or Dicky Doofy Duck? Hey, yeah. Oh, this is an adult series. It's a cartoon. Good luck, buddy. Yeah. No, I don't know if you remember, but I was showing the rough cut of Bob's Burgers way back in the day, and I was like, "That's a piece of shit. That'll never fly."
Such a good show.
Like the pilot, I was like, "You're wasting your time, guys. This is a piece of shit. No one will ever watch it." Cut to, 13 years later or something. Like, yeah. So I don't know anything about cartoons. So don't take my word for it. Anyway, sorry. Arcane, go.
Arcane's good though. It's based off of a video game I don't give a shit about, and I thought it'd be stupid, but the animation's insane. Like, it's really good. So we watched that, and I like it.
You watched that? Oh yeah. Or you said we watched that? Was that you and a bunch of stoned 13-year-olds watch that? Like you host parties?
Me and my wife.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
No, there were a couple of stoned 13-year-olds.
All right, great.
But what's funny about that, I hate the music in it, even though I'm sure the music's great. It's probably going to win awards and stuff. But it's like, so I kept joking. What's it called? Because it would do a drop, and go, so I just started calling it SpaghettiOs. SpaghettiOs. It's hard to explain, but if you see the show, you'll know what I'm saying. You'll think that's really funny.
All right. Well, I might tune in just for that. SpaghettiOs.
Just watch the opening credits and like wait for the SpaghettiOs and just go.
Okay.
My buddy is really funny.
I feel like that was worth it just for the SpaghettiO. Then I'll immediately change it.
Yeah. No, you won't get through it. It's one of those shows like you need to give it 3 or 4 episodes. You're like, oh, okay, this is really good, but you're never gonna make it that far. No, you're gonna be like, oh, what is this kid shit? We might as well go. Let's move on. I'm
gonna tune into CNN Crossfire. That's where I'm at. This fucking kid shit, cartoon bullshit. Lucas watches all day.
Oh, and also I've been watching a lot of David Letterman's been on YouTube now. Like they're starting to release a lot of his old stuff. You
Oh,
know,
like the
like
full
his new
episodes and
channel,
stuff.
not full episodes, but huge bits that weren't available
Yeah,
before. So I've been
I
deep
got
diving
yeah.
like a bunch of David
I
Letterman.
started watching a lot of his Chris Elliott clips, I think last year or two ago.
Yeah, those are
Those are
great.
great, and
Yeah. And
yeah,
these are
there's a
like
lot of good.
official. So, and like they also have some of the writers and directors and even his assistant
Uh
talking
huh.
about our PAs and stuff, talking about their favorite bits and stuff. It's
Yeah,
great. Like,
I
cause
highly suggest tuning in, dialing up the episode where he details about fucking his staff and is getting huge laughs the whole time. That's a good one. When he has the blackmailer guy that
mhm.
tried to blackmail him.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. uh David Letterman is nobody's hero. He's just a comedian who likes to fuck his staff members.
And he gets big laughs from the audience when he explains what happened.
Well, that's how you know you're good.
Yeah, he can get big laughs. Anyway, all right. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Okay.
Yeah, let's please move on.
You keep taking it to weird places. I don't know what to do. Do you want to go over the plot of the huge Hollywood
48
hit,
hours.
48 hours?
48 hours, big movie for the buddy comedy genre, buddy action comedy. It's kind of considered one of the top by a lot of critics and stuff.
If not like the first, arguably.
Yeah, some people put it like, I mean, it was really highly rated at the time too. Like, Leonard Mullen, who's really stingy with his stars, gave it like 3.5 stars and stuff. But anyway, the plot is essentially there's a jailbreak. This very dangerous, violent guy gets loose. He's with a buddy, actually, this kind of big Native American guy, and they are out loose on the streets of San Francisco. And Nick Nolte is the cop that's supposed to go and stop them. And he gets the idea to spring one of his old partners out of prison to kind of help track him down. And he gets like the go ahead. He has 48 hours to take the convict out and try to track down the bad guys. And the convict is Eddie Murphy.
And what did you think about 48 hours?
Rewatching.
Well, I know you've seen it a bunch, but rewatching.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, and well, when I started watching it with one of the first things Megan said with the opening scenes of like how they're out in the fields and there's horses going around and the music kicks in. It's a James Horner score who later went on to do like Aliens and Titanic and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, this is like a good movie since we had been watching a lot of these stuff. And yeah, I think you could tell like the direction is up there. It's a really A-list Hollywood movie of the time and stuff. And yeah, I thought the opening jailbreak scene was intense. It's another one of those two, like you watch the first 5-10 minutes, you wouldn't realize this is classified as a comedy at all because like the violence is pretty intense and stuff like that.
Mary said, by the way, Mary said the same thing. She was just listening to it. Like, this sounds like a good movie. Like, you can just tell the production quality from the other movies, like you just.
Right. This is probably the best made. I thought Stakeout was pretty well made, but I think this is like Walter Hill's direction. I think he was at the top of his game. I think this is a pretty up there with a pretty well made movie. Overall, though, like, I would say like the only reason this movie is a comedy is because of the casting of Eddie Murphy. They don't really get into funny situations at all. It's just all the banter or all his riffing kind of, from his character. A lot of it's pretty funny. There is a lot of problematic stuff, as we always kind of have to point out. Nick Nolte pretty much runs the gauntlet of racial slurs that he throws at Eddie Murphy throughout the movie, which is pretty uncomfortable. I don't know. What did you kind of think?
Because I saw it a few years ago and I thought it was really problematic. Mm-hmm. Watching it now, I didn't think it was as problematic. I thought it was more touching on the racial, like he's a fucking racist, like, I felt it was more, and we'll get into the essay you sent, video essay that's on Netflix later. But rewatching, I was like, no, it's commenting on racism. That's why they have that whole scene where he's in the bar and everything. Like, it's not just blatantly racist. Honestly, where I thought it was troublesome was how it treated the women characters. It was a very sexist, offensive. That's where it's aged horribly and is a very problematic.
Well, yeah, I was ready for the whole, race relations stuff and how like kind of, jarring that is. So I was kind of waiting for that, but I forgot at how bad women come or how they're treated in this movie. Yeah. Eddie Murphy, the whole time he's out on bail, he's just like desperate to,
trying to fuck a woman,
get a piece, I guess, or something.
and then he just wants, as he says, he wants some pussy. The poor guy.
Well, it makes sense, if you've been in jail and stuff. But like how that whole scene where he meets up with that gal who's on the dance floor,
one dance with him. He's like,
"Let's go to a hotel right now and do it." She's like, "Can't you ask me any better than that?" But like, she's all kind of like,
"But let's go. I don't have any money." Well, let's go anyway.
Yeah, and you pay for it. And she like, I think she would like slap him or just be like, "Get the fuck out of here, creep." But she's like, "Oh, geez." And then at the end, like, not, spoiler, like we're doing spoilers, whatever. Like, and he's like, "Hey, I'll be out like 6 months." And, and then I like how he gives her money and she's like, I told you I'm not a pro, like basically like, I'm not a prostitute. Like there's no, that, I don't know. I didn't buy any of her reactions to anything. It was just so, it was pretty like, wow. Oh, this is not good.
I mean, there's a lot to like, even like Nick Nolte's girlfriend who he treats like shit, but he likes her and stuff like that. And like, she doesn't have any of her own agency. She basically works at, I think, a bar and spends her entire time in the movie calling him. Like that's
and just obsessed with him, trying to better him and stuff.
And then the rest are like prostitutes who have sex with the criminals
and lie to the cops, and they have this kind of duplicitous nature, and they're like, it's women do not come off well, or I guess, well, it's not that they don't come off, they come off evil or something. They just come off like, I don't know, like objects, or just shady, or just stupid or something.
It's written by men or from an era where that's how they view women at the time. I don't know.
I agreed about that stuff. So that was problematic. I didn't realize that was the other thing too, is just with these movies like Stakeout and this one, like what the cops are able to do with their like the kind of their abuse of power, just like unloading guns in a hotel lobby.
Like
just
none of, even if they catch them, none of this is gonna stick.
Just driving like fucking maniacs around San Fran and all that kind of stuff. And I will say though, like as far as like the casting goes, that was the big thing at the time. Like Nick Nolte, we talked about last week, not really not buying like Ryan O'Neal or Richard Dreyfuss as cops, but like Nick Nolte, I could see being a fucking racist cop and become an intimidating guy. Like I think that he's good as in his role. I mean, I really bought it.
First, before we move on to Nick Nolte's performance, because he was very good, and I loved him in the. I mean, both the performances are great. That's why the movie works.
Right. Exactly,
and married with a great direction. But I think it's, you and I are not the most PC people in the world, but since we're watching these movies, we both have become like the most, like, that's not good. You can't do that.
I think we're I think well, as far as being the
movies
curator, as far as being the curators of like buddy action comedies, if we're that, as we're aspiring to, I think it should be a little bit of like, when you're in film school and they show you Birth of a Nation, they should say, oh, by the way, at the end of the movie, the Ku Klux Klan comes in and saves the day. I mean, you should let people know that, this is kind of considered this, and it's got good elements, but there's some problematic shit in it, and it's dated. So I think we're being, I guess, responsible is the word. I don't know. Like people knowing this. But
it's just funny, both of us walking on eggshells, even though we agree with everything we're saying. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think we're not like off air. We're not like, that was awesome. That's so stupid.
I'm Team Nick Nolte, man.
He said it like it is.
But Nick Nolte is great in this, and I've always loved Nick Nolte. And he's one of the few celebrities I do a little impression of. Should I just do that? Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Do you want to give me a? No, I'll do it. Let me see. Nick Nolte is, you're bringing your cat in to get a bath, and Nick Nolte's the veterinarian bath guy. Oh hell! Okay. You're bringing a cat in here to give a bath. Oh hell! Pretty good, right?
Not bad. Not bad. Nick Nolte. Yeah.
Now you go.
I go? Okay. I think I'm just yelling, "Oh hell! Oh hell! Yeah, your cat here, meow, meow, yeah.
Meow, meow, meow. Lorenzo's got oil, and I'm sick of hearing it. and he freaks out. He's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Well, yeah, I think like Patton Oswalt said something. He just looks like a really over guy. Someone just like pushed in front of the frame. Like that's his acting style, I guess. Uh, yeah, like you know. Eddie Murphy though, first movie, he was still on SNL. I think he was like 1920 when this movie came out. He was just a baby, and then but he, of course, his big breakthrough scene is where he kind of intimidates the redneck bar. What did you think of that scene?
The scene's amazing and it holds up really well. Fuck me. Sorry. Sorry, personal business.
What was the personal business?
Don't worry about it. I have to read something for somebody and I forgot to do it like an asshole. Now I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. Let's not worry about it.
You're not fucking around with buddies on buddies. You let somebody down.
I know. It's fucking shit. But hey, you're number one buddy. You're number one buddy.
Right.
That's why we do this. No, I just feel like a fucking asshole now. What's it called?
Just explain. You're talking about a movie from 40 years ago.
So, cannot talk.
I'm doing Nick Nolte impressions.
That no one asked for. No, the scene's amazing. And like another reason, like I'll say it's amazing because of course it is. It just is. But that's like when Mary she's not even paying attention to the movie. She gravitated to the movie and was like watching the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's something about like he just carries the whole thing, regardless if, the thing we're going to talk about later on the Netflix thing, where he breaks it all down. Regardless of all that, before all that, like he just like, and that's what they all say. It's a star-making performance.
Star-making scene, starting performance. He has a big breakthrough. I think it's kind of crazy today. Like I don't know. A lot of people under 30, it's possible under 30, but people don't know who Nick Nolte is. I think it might be impossible now. People under 40 aren't really aware who Eddie Murphy is, even besides like the kind of silly kids movies he did like the early 2000s. If you're under 30, but like, he was such a superstar in the 80s. I mean, he was up, one of the biggest comics probably around. But yeah, he's great in that scene. That's the pivotal kind of, when the tables turn, he starts getting in control. Only thing though, did you buy that full like on redneck bar in the middle of downtown San Fran?
I even joke like there's no way that bar would be in San Fran. Not even today, let alone back then when it was even more progressive.
Well, I think Urban Cowboy had come out a year or two before, so they were just thinking that these kind of redneck bars there's one in every major city, even though Urban Cowboy takes place in Dallas. I think that's what they're kind of banking on audience thinking that's fresh in their mind. But it's funny because the only time I've ever been in like a real redneck bar like that, or I would say redneck, but like a cowboy bar where people are wearing cowboy hats and doing the two-step and stuff like that, is when we were living in North Hollywood. I walked down to this like local bar and it was like that. Like people do the two-step, country music, cowboy hats, but it was like all Hispanics, and I was the only white guy in there. I wasn't wearing a cowboy hat. That was like the closest I've ever been to like a full-on, cowboy bar or something in a major city. So.
Yeah, it's impossible. There's no way that exists. Maybe outskirts somewhere because it's Northern California. There's plenty of.
This is like downtown San Fran.
Like no, there's no way that bar exists.
Whatever. Yeah,
it doesn't exist in LA. It doesn't. It doesn't exist in Phoenix for Christ's sakes. It certainly.
Well, they have like in LA, they have those like mechanical bull bars, but they're for like douchebag frat dudes. Like the one in on Sunset Strip. There's one in like Manhattan Beach, and there's no one's wearing cowboy shit in there. It's all.
They just want to put women on there. That's all they care about. It's not like but no, that bar was hilarious. But it was in an era where they could have crazy settings like that. For some reason the 80s did a lot of that. Like, oh, we're at this bar in some city. Like, there's no way this place could fucking possibly
exist like that. Yeah, but it's all right. That did throw me though when I was waiting for that big scene and stuff. I just wasn't really buying the whole thing. Can we talk about the music a little bit? James Horner, going to go back to it. What'd you think of? I thought it was a really great soundtrack, but a lot of steel drums, which is like a Caribbean kind of thing, which I thought was odd too for San Fran. Like it's usually steel drums. You think Jamaica or like the Caribbean or something. Like it's a very similar score he did for Commando, which has a lot of steel drums in there. I don't know. What'd you think of the score?
I rarely notice scores unless. And that's for the bet. If I do notice it, it's because it bothers me. I'm not a big score guy. I don't know why. I'm not musical and I'm not.
Well, it's not. It's supposed to be background. I mean, you're not really supposed to focus in on it too much. It's supposed to elevate the story, drama, whatever. But I think it's one of those things you can concentrate on if you dial in just like camera work or editing or whatever. So
no, and I watch a lot of other reviewers and all that, and they always go, and then the score, and I was like, oh, I didn't even fucking hear it. I don't even
right.
I don't even, unless it's like Indiana Jones or Star Wars, and it's like, should I
as a real like theme that just keeps pumping,
I really don't even fucking hear the score. So
well, I think it's like the best one that we've listened to so far by easily. And James Horner went on to be this big time guy in the industry before he died. I think like the early 2000s or something. But yeah, it just the steel drums just kind of threw me off. It's like ding 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 ding. I don't know. It just didn't sound like this is not the Caribbean, San Fran, but it's close to the ocean. Whatever.
It didn't jar me, which means it's probably a decent score,
Right. Now the bad guys, James Remar and Sonny Landham. What do you think of their performances?
I loved what's his name? Sonny Landham. Is he an actual Native American?
He actually, I was reading up on him. He is a very interesting guy. Lived a very colorful life. He was half Native American, half Jewish, is what he claimed.
Wow,
which is an interesting combo. He played football at the University of Georgia, and then he worked in an oil rig, and then he was into porno movies, and then he was into like modeling after the porno movies, and then he got into like legit movies. And then he did kind of a bunch of these like Joel Silver movies. Like you remember him in Predator?
Of course,
as Billy. And there's also a moment in 48 Hours where he takes off his where he's maybe shirtless anyway, but he has like the knife. And it really reminded me of Predator when he strips down and just holds the knife. And he's like,
no, he holds it Predator. Like you're not gonna shoot me. It's like,
yeah. But then he ended up running for governor of Kentucky a few times.
Huh.
Yeah, so he died a couple years ago, but definitely a very, very colorful life from Sonny Landham.
He's got a fucking presence, man. Like
he does, yeah.
And he's good. You believe every second of him. He's insane. Like his presence is huge, or she's scary. And he was the same way in Predator. Like you believe everything he's doing. That's good acting.
Yeah.
I had to check out some
more things. You think?
Movies. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so there might be on one of the like Pornhub or something.
I'll find it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, maybe next week we'll have a new episode.
If there's a porn clip out there, Lucas will find it.
I'll get to the bottom of it. It's like the opening credits of my show.
Yeah. They haven't found a clip of Sonny Landham in 40 years. Get me, Lucas.
I'm hungover. Grabbing a phone. I don't do that anymore.
Doing your Nick Nolte impression.
Oh, what the hell is it? No.
What about James Remar?
Yeah, he was fine, but I've seen him in so many things. It feels like he always plays that role. So I'm like,
he's a big time TV actor and stuff like that. I thought he was good. Some of his dialogue toward the end was just like, yeah, he was pretty good, but like, some of his lines toward the end were just like, I got shot. I can't believe it. I'm gonna kill you. Just like, I don't know. It's like
both their deaths, though. They're set up so big. They're bigger than life characters, and their deaths are just like,
yeah,
they get shot. Yeah, that's it. But
yeah. But they were like menacing villains, though. I thought they did have a lot of like, they did seem pretty scary, and like that kind of things. And they were good match for Nick Nolte and stuff like that. So I did like I like that kind of like the real like psychotic villains, versus kind of the jokey ones we have today in the buddy action comedies.
I would like to talk about the fist fight.
The fist fight right after he drops a couple of N-bombs on Eddie Murphy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's right after the bar scene where Eddie Murphy does a great job, and then they do the fight. And sorry, what is the Netflix show? Let's talk about that right now. The Netflix.
It's called Voyeur. And it's a bunch of like these
people, right?
VOIR, yeah, and it's basically just people doing these essays on movies that meant a lot to them growing up, I guess. Like there's one on Jaws, but the last one's on 48 Hours by I forgot his name, but it's an Asian American guy that wrote about seeing 48 Hours as like a 9-year-old or something, growing up in Colorado.
But he talks about it's very good. You should watch it more than you should watch this.
Yeah,
but he talks.
We just recommend other things to watch. Yeah.
Have you guys heard of Red Letter Media? Check that out.
Clips of Siskel and Ebert. Do it. What are you doing here?
But he talks about all this stuff I didn't glean at all. Like, oh, it's because Eddie Murphy had that great performance at the bar that he gets like he wants to dominate him again, and that's why they start this fight. I don't believe in any of that shit. No offense, the essay was great.
No,
but I think they just wanted the characters to have a fight,
yeah. I appreciate his take on it. I thought it was interesting and intelligent. I don't think the movie is that, at least intentionally profound as he made it out to be.
Yeah.
And everything means something. That's a little kind of like those super analytical videos on YouTube where they just go over every single aspect. Everything was deliberate, or every choice meant something. And yeah, there's a lot of that in his episode, but I still recommend seeing it just because it does kind of give a couple layers to the movie, which I didn't really ever think about. But yeah, it's the fight is I wouldn't put up there with like They Live or something as one of the great.
It reminded me of They Live though a lot. Like it just kept going.
Yeah, it did kind of. Yeah,
so weird.
So weird. It's a lot of just like blows to the face and stuff like that, which would usually put someone down if you connected that hard or something like that. But yeah, it's and also, if they kind of like beat the shit out of each other, in the next scene they're like, all right, you won that round, haha, what did you think about the arc of them like basically like going from beating the shit out of each other to him defending Eddie Murphy's character from the captain? Like, this is the best goddamn partner I ever had. He has more guts and more brains, and it's basically it's a 48-hour time frame. So this is like a day later.
Yeah, but it worked for me. Like Walter Hill was quoted as saying like he doesn't know why people call this a buddy movie because they hated each other. I was like, no, they didn't. But they had a lot of respect for each other. Like, and it was earned over time.
Yeah, that's a staple of the buddy movies. They don't like each other at the beginning. At the end of the movie, they're friends.
We should make a buddy movie where they're just buddies.
Well, they're buddies, and then by the end of the movie, they hate each other. We might be doing that right now. I don't know, like with the series. Like, we'll see how we are at the end of the year. Like,
we've started so nice.
I'm not talking to you anymore. Yeah, it'll be the whole arc. You
can finish this episode. This is Kenny, buddies on buddies.
Kenny, buddies signing off. Yeah. The next episode's Megan's, in the seat, it's looking very uncomfortable. Yeah. What do you think of the police captain? Oh, go ahead. What do you think of the police captain's performance?
Oh, he's always great. He's done it like a shit ton of times. But ever since what's it called? 2 spoof movies where he spoofed his own stuff.
Well, he kind of did in Last Action Hero. He plays basically the same character, the screaming police captain. But I thought this one, he is like basically almost doing like a character, just way over the top, yelling and in your face. But then they brought him back to so it's like almost the same characters in Last Action Hero. That's kind of a spoof movie, But that was kind of funny.
Well, he was literally in Loaded Weapon, Lethal Weapon, or whatever that spoof movie.
Was he in that one too? It's been so long since I saw that one,
which is very funny movie.
Which is actually on my list of things we might get to a little later.
That'd be great. I would love that. Yeah. Loaded Weapon 1. Sorry, that's the one he's in.
Right.
And he plays the same character in 2 different movies where he's parodying himself. But hey, he's good at it. I guess he can yell, and he's a big guy, and people are intimidated by him. So I loved him. Yeah. Okay, so what would you give 48 Hours on the buddy action comedy scale overall? Okay, as a buddy action comedy, I have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. As a movie, I'd probably give it closer to 6.5 out of 10 because I still think it's a solid movie.
Yeah. I think we're pretty much exact agreement this time as far as like I would, on the buddy action comedy scale, I put it pretty high up there, like a 7.5, 8, something like that, 8.5, I don't know. But like on a movie, as far as, I don't think it's aged quite as well as maybe some people think, or like that there's a lot of problematic stuff, not just the racial, stuff. There is like the sexism and police, authority and all that kind of stuff. But the buddy action comedy scale, it's a really well-made movie. Has some laughs, but I wouldn't say it's like there's no like they don't really get into funny scenes. It's situations. It's just Eddie Murphy riffing, which is still funny. But
except for the bar scene where he acts like a cop in a white redneck barf.
Yeah, I
And
guess
that is
that's
so
kind of a funny
big.
situation, but it's not really
That's
played. It's
definitely
not played for like,
that's
yeah,
definitely a set piece, you know, like I'm
right,
gonna
yeah,
go in, I have his badge, and I'm gonna act like a cop with all these rednecks. It's a huge comedic set piece.
right,
And it's like one of the, I mean, it's a star making set piece, you know, to a certain degree.
right, right.
Not that I'm pretty sure he was undeniable. He was going to be a star anyway. Eddie Murphy. He
Yeah.
was already doing it on
Well, he was
TV.
already blowing up on SNL,
Yeah,
like, you know, pretty
exactly.
big at the time
Exactly.
too. So
Here,
yeah,
here's sorry, real quick. There's a huge problem in my movie. At the end, they're like, "Hey, let's go get a drink before I take you to jail." Hey, why don't we go
yeah,
back to that guy's house? It's like,
yeah,
well, we already did that. It's like we have nothing else to do. Okay, and
yeah.
that's the climax. Like, there's no building to the climax, no
No,
investigation. They just
there's
go
not a
back
lot
to
of
that
that.
house.
Well, when I looked kind of into like the whole this screenplay had been kicking around for a while and had
Mhm.
been gone through so many different drafts. I think the first like draft, like Lawrence Gordon, one of the producers, he had an idea of like some sick criminal in jail that you have to spring, like Hannibal Lecter type, that you have to spring and, you know, let out for 48 hours, and then he gets loose or something, and then you have to track him down. So like the movie, the original idea script or whatever was nothing like what they ended up making. So after like, you know, 10, I don't know how many years in like rewrites and development, I think it just kind of came, Walter Hill kind of came together with like, okay, we're gonna get, you know, Nick Nolte, and then we'll bring Eddie Murphy in. They originally wanted Richard Pryor, I think, then they got, you know, Eddie
Well,
Murphy.
I
So
didn't do as much research as you, but just the IMDb, the original
yeah,
was for
so
Clint
I'm
Eastwood
just
and Richard Pryor, which
yeah,
I would have loved
I'm
to.
just right. I'm just guessing this was not a very tight, like locked script with all the rewrites going on constantly.
Right.
So I'm thinking with that scene where it's like, hey, why don't we just go back to the chick's place and just see what happens?
Why don't we
Like,
just jump to
okay,
the climax?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
guys
So
want to go to the climax? Yeah.
I'm thinking that's where like, you know,
Yeah,
they were
that's
just kind of stuck and just like, okay, let's just go, you know. So yeah, it's not, as far as the plot goes, it's, you can't really set your watch by it. It's very loose, you know, but I don't know, it still kind of works overall, I think.
um I remember liking the sequel more, but after watching this, I
Mhm.
was looking at some of the reviews. The sequel was panned by critics,
It was
but
panned. It was
that's what I
panned, but
remember because it was 1990, so
yeah,
it was like I was old enough to
right.
know about it, you know.
hmm It was panned. I know you were kind of talking about watching it
First,
first
yeah,
last week, but well, I think me and you both. I think we talked about like that we had seen the sequel as a kids before, because I was born the year that 48 Hours came out,
yeah.
and so I saw like when I was a kid, I was like, this movie's awesome, You know, like the another 48 Hours. But I think the big critique of the movie when it came out, besides it just being too late, it's like 8 years later. Like we talked about
Mhm.
another Stakeout being 6 years, that was too long. This is like 8 years later. It was also, this is the exact same fucking movie with like two psychos on the loose. He has to, Eddie Murphy's still in jail, even though he's supposed to be out 6 months later. And then Nick Nolte has another 48 hours to spring him. It was just way too many story beats like the original. So that's why I kind of wanted to watch the first one again, just because I think that was a big criticism. Like, this is the same fucking movie.
Well, we'll get to it. Overall,
Yeah, so I still want to get to it. I think it's, you know, be fun to revisit because I did love that movie as a kid. So
I would definitely suggest 48 Hours, even if you're not into these type of movies, as long as you're
yeah.
prepared for some casual sexism. And
hmm
it tackles racism, but I don't think it's racist in itself. Aside from calling
No,
the Native American Indian, I think it's sexist and it's tackling racism.
yeah, it's more probably sexist than anything. It's tackling racism. It's trying to make I think, I don't know, it's
Mm.
really going to make a statement or something, but
Oh,
at
it
least
definitely is.
it's
No,
it,
they're
it, it
trying to
it's in
say
there.
something. Yeah. Because they're talking about the
Yeah,
police and like
I don't know.
when he says like I'm the scariest person you know is a black person with the badge, you know, he doesn't use those words, but
Yeah.
they're definitely
Well, I
making
think
commentary.
they're constantly commenting on it. I don't know if it has like a big statement to say though. I don't think it has like something like
No,
this is
there's
this or
no
something.
credit
Yeah.
crawl at the end about police brutality or anything like that,
Yeah,
or the
increase the
prison
peace.
rates.
Yeah,
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 no, yeah. I don't think it has a real big statement. I think there's a lot of commentary on it, I guess.
yeah.
One other thing though, James Remar, the villain, he is. I was looking at his IMDb. He is in Partners. He has a featured role. I do not
I don't
remember him at all in that
all.
movie.
Yeah.
And it came out the same year as Partners.
Wow.
I was just wondering if you remembered him
I
in Partners
don't.
at all.
I'm
Was a
guessing
cop or
Partners
was he a
was probably shot like a couple years before
yeah
and put on a shelf for a little while.
shelf probably because
Yeah.
these movies are completely different as far as like quality wise, as far as
Because I
movie
talked to my
making.
mom, who
Yeah,
was pretty big cinephile, and this was her
yeah,
prime when she would go see all the movies. She'd never heard of Partners.
sure,
She didn't know it even
yeah,
existed.
yeah. Even though it's a big like it was a big
Yeah, those are some
Ryan
big
O'Neal and all that
stars.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Richard
yeah.
Harris.
But I was just thinking
Check
James
out our
Remar is such
Partners episode.
this episode. Yeah,
Don't
I'm
watch
sure
the
Diane's
movie
a,
though.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Diane's a huge fan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, I asked my mom over like Super Bowl Sunday. I was like, "Hey, did you watch the thing?" She's like, "I've been meaning to. I think I'll go." I was like, "Yeah, she's not getting around to it."
Why would you expect that's not exactly our wheelhouse? Come on, mom, you love buddy cop movies.
Yeah,
I know. I just
no.
don't want to watch you talking about my movie.
I just want her to see her son on the TV.
It's not a TV, dude. Anybody can do this. You don't even need
Yeah,
me for it. You
you
do
can
it
put
yourself.
YouTube. You can put YouTube on the TV if you have a smart TV.
All right, let's get the hell out of here. You get to
Yeah.
pick our next movie for next week. What movie did you choose?
Well, we talked about Loaded Weapon 1, but I kind of want
Mm-hmm.
to revisit Lethal Weapon series before we get to Loaded Weapon 1. Just to
So we're doing
have
another
comments
big
on
one. I
that.
thought last time we talked about doing a more obscure one.
No, yeah. I'm gonna do this. Isn't really that obscure, but it's pretty forgotten. But I also
Mhm.
wanted to do something from this century. I wanted to do something that I didn't think would be super torturous for you. It's by a director that we both respect, Ron
Okay.
Shelton.
I love
Who
Ron
did
Shelton.
these,
Yeah.
who did like these surprisingly smart sports comedies.
Bull
But he did
Durham
it.
is one of the best, is in my
Bull
opinion,
Durham,
the best sports movie.
White Men
made.
Can't Jump is also
White Men
really
Can
good.
Jump
I
is
like
up there, yeah.
I like Tin Cup too.
Tin Cup's
But this one is I believe from 2003. It's Hollywood Homicide, starring Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett.
Not Shelton's best movie, by the way. And nothing.
Not his
he
best
would-
movie, but it takes place in where your little neck of the woods. So I thought because we don't stakeout, which is watch it. So I thought Hollywood
Yeah, sorry.
Homicide.
We can't all
You're
live
a
where
fan of-
Goonies was filmed.
Yeah, well, I know you like you're a big Harrison Ford fan. I know
I
you're
love
even a
Harrison
bigger
Ford.
Josh Hartnett fan. I know you're
Hey,
wild for that guy.
I have nothing against Josh Hartnett. Why'd you
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that? I don't have anything against you. Say it like I love the Hartnett. Hey, he was
Who
almost
likes Who likes Josh Hartnett? No one likes Josh Hartnett.
Hey, the world did. He was almost like a huge movie star. He just passed on
Yeah.
so many things. I liked him in
Yeah.
the Robert Rodriguez movie, the Alien one.
Oh, for the
The
faculty, when he was like
Faculty.
17, like a million years ago.
He was great.
Okay.
He
Well,
was
anyway,
legit
you're gonna love Hollywood Homicide.
Great. We're doing Hollywood Homicide.
Mhm.
Everybody's really excited about that. Hold on. Do we have
Yeah.
any?
What do we learn from 48 Hours?
Are we doing? Oh yeah, we are doing what we learned. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna do. What I learned is that sexism and racism,
Sells.
sexism sells, baby. Yeah, like you can be as racist, conscious as you want. You want to sell a movie, sexism.
Yeah, it does seem like they do like break down, like just takes like they will be shitting on these. They'll let up, on like certain aspects of them, but still it's still hard for certain, minorities down the road. I don't know. It's just funny. Yeah, that this seems like different decades. There's different, little more wokeness, I guess, with certain areas, I guess.
But
yeah.
the one thing that's like that hasn't gotten woke yet, certainly not in the 80s, is feminism. Like
Well, they're starting to do it like that. There's more buddy action comedies with women now, like The Heat and Hot Pursuit and stuff like that. But yeah, women did see all these 80s movies. They did not seem to be getting their
it's horrible.
due. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they were racist and sexist, equal parts. What did you learn anything? Or did we just both kind of learn that?
Well, no, I learned that, you can look like a just shaggy, hungover piece of shit and be,
Hey, I'm trying my best.
Horrible things. Yeah. And still have a podcast where you talk to someone who's brilliant. No. And you could still be voted sexiest man alive, like Nick Nolte was in 1990 or something.
Hey, how do you think I've been getting through this world?
I know. Yeah, the frame Nick Nolte poster like over your head. Like, just a couple more years, baby, and I'm gonna be the sexiest man alive, Sir Nolte.
So we'll move on to fan mail. We do have a comment I want to highlight.
Oh yeah.
It's from John Rogers in our #1 video, our first video.
Oh really? Black. Do you know who John Rogers is?
It's Johnny Rogers, my friend Johnny Rogers. He wrote this.
I know Johnny Rogers.
He wrote this is great.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So that's our fan mail this week. Do you have any fan mail this week?
I think he wrote something else. He was like, "You had me at I'm a fucking fish."
Yeah.
I think the actual line was "I'm a fuck a fish," referring to the Shape of Water movie that won the Oscar. Anyway,
yeah.
Call back to last episode.
Yeah. He's
Anyway. What's up, Johnny? Shout out.
What's up, Johnny? He's a good friend. Very troubled. Very troubled person.
Very disturbed. Very.
If he contacts any of you, call the police, the FBI. They have a file on him.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I think we're done here.
It's goodbyes time. Do you have anything
goodbyes
to say?
Lucas, rock us out with your words of wisdom. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to, before I get started, this is kind of going to be a long one.